Hello, and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
All right.
I am all right, although I nearly didn't make it here this morning.
Why not?
Well, I was out for a run, and I was coming past the salubrious sites of the glue factory, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Famous Exeter landmark.
famous Exeter landmark, but that's where I was. And I had my headphones in. I was listening to The Boy with the Thorn in His Side by the Smiths. It just came on. And I was, thinking about what a nice musical arrangement it was. And then, honestly, louder than as if a jumbo jet crashed down upon me, came the most distorted Blue Peter theme tune you've ever heard. And I was like, what the hell is that? And was like trying to scrabble to take off my headphones, assuming it was coming from my headphones. No. It was the Oggy Oggy pasty van, the pasty wagon, right behind me.
Why are they playing the Blue Peter theme tune?
Because it's like they're like ice cream van style.
I didn't even know there was an Oggy Oggy pasty van.
There's two. There's a rival company. There's two pasty vans that travel around Marsh Barton and display their wares through the medium of distorted music, and then people come out from the factories.
Oh, yeah, okay,
and,
right, yeah.
Buy whatever they want. That guy definitely knew what he was doing to me. He was right behind me, and I could have died.
Brilliant.
Frankly.
How does it go, the Blue Peter theme tune? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was mental.
Yeah, it's also sort of like just generic pirate music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sea
Yeah.
shanty kind of thing.
Definitely could be either of those things. But, yeah.
Right, well, I'm sorry about that, but we should talk about some of the football that's been happening.
Oh,
should
all
we
right.
not?
Yeah, we should. So, Exeter City, 2 games in the last few days. 1, glorious.
Yeah.
1,
As good as you're ever likely to see.
yes.
That was Saturday.
1, it was an absolute sludge fest.
Oh, and then, yeah, as bad as you're likely to see, probably.
It was a tale of 2 matches.
So, Exeter City 5,
Yeah.
whoever they were playing, 0.
Tranmere.
Tranmere, of course.
Tranmere 0, yeah. That
And
was
then-
Saturday.
That's Saturday. And then last night, Tuesday night, Exeter City 1, Harrogate Town. Is that what they're called, Town? Or
Yeah.
just Harrogate? Harrogate Town 2.
Yeah. Absolute bad do after a very good do.
Yeah, an interesting kind of contrast, actually, which we'll pick apart for you with our sort of laser logic.
Yes, laser logic turned on. I mean, I want to talk about the 5-0 first. So, my first game back in the ground.
Of course, yeah, and most people's actually, because it's a very different affair to the Papa John's
Yeah,
the week before.
Papa John on there.
Twice as many people there, basically.
Yeah, Rick Parry had turned up, and so had about 1,600 of us, something like that.
Was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And
It almost felt normal on the Big Bank.
it did almost feel normal. No refreshments, of course.
No.
So for the first time ever, I took a flask to the football, and let me just tell you this, Dan, I'm never going back.
Well, yeah,
It was nice.
I agree. It's good. What else did you have?
I had
Tell them how many. What else did you have, and how many of them?
I had 3 chocolate bars. 3 of them.
2 Rockies and
A brunch bar.
There you go. What is that?
That is
That's a grown
pre-match, mid-match, and post-match.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it was glorious. What happened again?
This is what happens when you let
I
men
know.
in charge of the biscuit box. What happened? So, well, it was...
But we're 3-0. We're 2-0 up inside 20 minutes, right?
It was remarkable. Yeah. So,
Bowman.
found his feet.
Well, Bowman. Everyone that's going to know this already because the whole world's been talking about it. But Ryan Bowman scored consecutive hat tricks in consecutive home league matches.
Yes.
I mean, it does actually require that many clauses, that statement, because there was a home match in between, there was an away match in between, but they weren't league home matches.
Yes.
But still, considering the man had never scored a hat-trick before, a couple of weeks ago,
Yep.
and then he got 2, and the confidence of the guy to take both those first 2 on his left foot. The first one, he sort of nutmegs the defender inside the box and then finishes bottom corner
Left foot.
with his wrong foot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, unbelievable. And then the second one wasn't,
There was a penalty in between, wasn't there?
Yeah. Bowman's second, sorry. Yeah, it was Matt J penalty between Bowman's second, not too dissimilar to that, really. Another sort of lovely sort of left foot finish.
absolutely flying.
Yeah.
3-0 at half-time.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the best halves of football I've seen by Exeter City ever.
Yeah, we were fantastic, yeah. They couldn't deal with us. The strange thing was, I thought, in a way, and part of a lot of this, and this will come as this with the Harrogate, is it's just the way sort of teams set up against you, really, isn't it? It really kind of determines, especially at this level. I mean, because I think they seem to have this. They had this massive sort of tall centre back who they'd put marking Ryan Bowman.
Yeah,
basically. They stick him on there under some illusion, I guess, that Ryan Bowman's good in the air, which he isn't. He's actually quite bad in the air, and he's excellent with the ball played into his feet, or that's his game, ball into the feet, back to goal. That's what he's about. So that's an error, I think, to think that what you need to do is put a big, tall... obviously he's there for a few flick-ons, but that's not really his game. I mean, he jumps an hour too early for them anyway, so...
I think... was it Tranmere's number 6 who was marking him?
I think so,
the
yeah.
big guy. I think Bowman's basically put that guy's career back about 5 years. It was... he had a miserable afternoon.
Again, I don't think it's really that guy's fault, because...
No,
it's a mismatch in playing styles, really. And I think that's just... I assume that's what they thought. Oh, Bowman, aerial threat. Nope.
Second half,
threat on the
City
ground.
come out just as well again, really. Jake Taylor with a lovely finish. Kind of a no backlift, edge of the box.
I call it a lash.
Oh, nice, yeah.
It just sort of comes to him, doesn't it? Sort of bouncing around a bit of Joel Randall cutting in from the left.
Yep.
Ends up at Taylor's feet and just lashes it home.
Lovely.
He scored again Tuesday night. That's actually 6 league goals now for Taylor. That's a good one, isn't he?
He really is. And then the fifth goal, Joel Randall threw on goal and very magnanimously lays it off to Bowman, who completes his hat-trick.
Yeah, and do you know what? You watch it back, and especially from the angle that they filmed it from, which is kind of for facing the big bank, that goal, and it looks like it's a more difficult pass than it looked at the time.
Yeah.
He's squared it across to Bowman, who once he gets it has an open goal, but Randall's still got to pick him out a bit, and it's perfect ball through, But yeah, very, very unselfish of him.
Very satisfactory game. Taylor, also out of character, used all 5 substitutions. Of course, the game was won at half time, wasn't it?
Well, that's when you can, I suppose, isn't it? Then you can give them, you can give people a run. Jose got 10 minutes.
Jose got 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that 5-0. We were on cloud 9. People were predicting how afraid Harrogate would be, how many we'd put past them, how...
well, all the talk was how many goals we'd scored, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if we still are, but we were the highest scoring team in England at the time. And then also in the meantime, the Stevenage game this coming Saturday got cancelled because of coronavirus positive tests.
Well, something.
Yeah, more of that in a minute. But it meant, I think, we felt buoyed by we can play the same team. We're not even going to have to worry about managing fitness levels.
Yeah, I mean, it was
basically.
So it was pretty much for the Tranmere game. It's pretty much the starting 11 we'd sort of come to expect recently.
Yep.
And then the only change for the game last night against Harrogate was Tom Parks was out of the squad. Now, have you heard what this was about?
No, I haven't. No.
So he had a baby. I mean, not him personally, his wife.
Yeah.
Or whoever.
Yeah.
Had a baby and he hadn't slept.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he might have maybe a bit of a knock or something as well. Basically, that's what it is. He had a kid.
The baby's had a bit of a knock. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Goodness. Get well soon, baby. But so Tom Park's not had any. He's lacking on the old kip.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Wow.
So Partridge came in for him.
I like to think that was only decided 10 minutes before kickoff when Parks had fallen asleep while putting his boots
nodding
on.
off. On the tying his.
Sit this one out, Tom.
Yeah,
interesting.
maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's the same lineup apart from Parks, wasn't it?
Yeah. The only other difference, I think, Nicky Law had a bit of a knock. I think, and wasn't in the side.
In the Tranmere side.
In the Tranmere side, yeah. So he wasn't in the side for that. And he was back on the bench last night.
Yeah.
And expensive Nicky Jose, by the way, which I think is just about worth mentioning. Although, I'm not sure how much longer we keep banging that particular drum.
No, Bowman's getting a hatful every time. So that was that game. I came to St James Park last night full of enthusiasm and optimism. Not entirely, not because too many negatives. I've been to the chip shop on the way and taken again full advantage of the refreshment situation.
Well, we took it one step further, didn't we?
We did. Me and you went and got large chips first.
So you got the first time you go, oh, I've got the. I'll take a flask. Actually, it's quite good, this. And then we saw
and
someone
chocolate
with
bars.
KFC bucket.
Yes.
Oh, that's an idea. Have your dinner at the match. So got some chips on the way. So really taking it too far. Next time, what we're going to do? Bring a table and knife and fork.
Yeah, I don't know what I do. Maybe get something delivered to the ground. I mean, the next step is an Indian, isn't it? And eat it with an arm bread instead of a spoon.
Yeah, although, all the barriers are pretty much freed up at the minute, so why not bring a spoon or knife and fork?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I tell you what I could do is stand lower down and use the roof of the wheelchair section as my table.
Yeah, tablecloth on it.
Sure. Maybe I could
Some
get
poppadoms.
Get the Deliveroo guys.
Mango chutney.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the ball comes towards you, you're in trouble.
You know those things they have in Indian restaurants, like with the candles in that keep your dinner warm?
Yeah.
Put a couple of them up.
Yeah.
Keep it all warm.
Yeah, I like the sound of this. I mean, we can only just got to keep developing. If we do that, then what?
What?
If, how far can it go?
I mean, sky's the limit, isn't it? I'd consider hiring out one of those rooms on the St James Road.
Well, it's sort of like, director's box, I'd go, would be. That's what we're doing, basically. That's what they do up there. They have a full Indian meal or something,
Yeah.
We're
not
saying
during the
this
game,
is
of
a
course.
joke, but that's actually what some people do.
I'm not saying this is a joke
and
at
then
all.
someone sits in the corner playing an acoustic guitar, I think. Does that
Wow.
happen? I think that happens.
We could get someone to play an
Maybe not
acoustic guitar.
during the match, but like a half time someone comes in and sort of like does a few numbers. Like I sort of picture them sat on a stool.
I really would like to see
Crooning.
the guys. By the way, hats off to the volunteers who are cleaning the balls, which obviously is an
get the wet
extra
wipes
job.
out.
Get your wet wipes out and all that. I'd love to see a football landing, after I finished, of course, landing in my veggie korma or my tikka masala, and them then having to use the wet wipes to get the...
Hang on, ref. Just got to clean this curry sauce off.
Yeah. So anyway, I felt good. I was there at 6:45, as were you.
This is the actually point that's actually of any relevance is you have to get there so early.
Yeah.
So I mean, you don't have to really. They tell you to, and we're.
I'm high in the alphabet, as are you, on the surname.
Yeah,
count.
yeah. So we just kind of turned up, and you're like an hour. We were there an hour before kickoff last night.
I feel sorry for Aaron A. Aronson. He's been there since 4.
But which is, it's too early, isn't it? Really, especially when it's cold.
It is a bit early, but do you know what? I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm fully ready for the game.
You get more out of it, I suppose. You get a bit of more of a.
I can
night
chat
out.
to you and Jack before the game, and then I can really just kind of watch the game. I don't have to be like, oh, guess what happened to me?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I nearly had a heart attack because of the pasty wagon. I can keep that.
Yeah,
That's done.
Yeah.
And then I'm just fully focused on keeping my Indian takeaway safe and watching the game.
yeah, definitely. Okay, cool.
So I felt good. 5-0 and a full belly.
Well, I think everyone was kind of. You got a home game. We're in great goal scoring form.
Yep.
Not necessarily great form. We have lost recently. Like there's a Cheltenham game was only the other day.
Yeah.
Great goal scoring form. We're playing Harrogate Town. I mean, they're.
Well, they've had a quite dramatic. I looked them up. They've in 15 years they've come basically from Tiverton Town level to where they are now.
Right, exactly though. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they're the underdogs.
Yep. Not having. I mean, doing fine for a team that's come up, but not set the league on fire.
No, but then they really had our number, as it happened.
And this goes back to, I think, when we can play our game, we're almost unstoppable. As in, like we can't defend that well always, but we'll always outscore you if we can play our game normally. Cheltenham being the kind of exception.
Well, that's when you come up against someone who does your game better than you.
Yes.
I suppose, isn't it? Or
I mean, I think
as well. Or there's a few factors in that game, I think. But yeah.
But then Harrogate didn't let us play our game, and we didn't take the game over.
Yeah, I think that it's not that just that we've. I was thinking about this. It's not just that we've come up against a kind of. They're a big physical team, aren't they? That want to keep the ball off the ground and catch the home team on the break. And the footballing team on the break. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sort of glad I don't have to watch that sort of football every week, to be honest. But it can work. I mean, we've beaten teams that play that way, and people have come and tried to do that thing against us, and it hasn't worked. Whatever they did last night really did work, because we had absolutely no way through that, really, did we? I mean, we couldn't break down their kind of just very kind of rigid banks of four kind of long ball. We just couldn't get through. We couldn't get our midfielders on the ball. We couldn't get the wingers on the ball.
No. The only time we had the ball was centre-backs, and in the first half...
I mean, how much possession did... It seemed like... The only Sweeney and Hartshire is the only two people that ever had the ball for more than a second.
And I think everyone was a bit off colour. Like none of the players who've been so good this year.
Yeah.
Jay, now Bowman, the wingers.
Even Archie Collins.
Yeah.
Not quite on it.
No one was quite on it. So
I did think there was it wasn't just that. The thing that kept occurring to me was that there's certain games in there where you think. We've talked about that before. Maybe Law would be better. I think possibly in those situations, as good as Matt Jay sort of always is, because he always tries so hard, and he did set up our goal, and he's always running at so much energy. But a game like that, where you've got to unpick the defence, basically, I think probably Law's a better option. Now, he wasn't fit, I guess, which is why even if he wanted to, he wouldn't have been able to start. He wasn't even on the bench for the last game, so. That's a factor, isn't it? But I just thought that Bowman and Jay were too close together. They ended up in the first half. Neither was dropping deep, so it was just two centre forwards that we were hoofing it up to. Bowman, fair enough. At least he's tall, but he's not particularly good in the air. And Matt Jay, he's tiny. He's got no chance.
No. So, first half an hour was basically terrible football. Just
the ball was just like. Never on the floor. It was
No.
just endless headers back and forth.
Yeah, and then Harrogate managed to get the breakthrough with about half an hour gone. Pretty much their first chance.
Yeah, and their only chance of that half, I think, pretty much as well. Like,
we almost had an instant response 5 minutes later or so. I can't think who it was, but someone had a shot which then maybe clipped off Jay's head. And to my view, the keeper kind of came out of nowhere. But that was really our only chance.
Oh, yeah.
It's
a decent... I think it kind of like... It's a header from Jay. It sort of goes off the back of it. He sort of heads it with the side of it or the back of his head slightly.
Yeah.
Decent save, actually. I initially thought it was straight at him, but the keeper does have to move a bit. I just thought with our goal, again, it's like one... You don't want to... We've got young players in that back line. Sweeney aside, who I think didn't play a huge part in that first goal. It's more kind of a combination of Sparks and Hartridge. It's like... Hartridge, I think, looks really good. And he was winning so many those headers in the first half, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's a young player who's inexperienced, and there are going to be mistakes like that one.
Is that his first league start?
I don't know, but if it isn't, then he's not started many.
No.
And then Jack Sparks again was another one who was involved in that first goal, and this is someone who's we've said this before, but he's not a left back as such. He's someone who's being almost retraining as a left back, and it's very promising. But you're going to suffer. There are going to be lapses, and I think the same thing happened for the second goal. But apart from the fact that you got these individual errors, and I think possibly Sweeney might have done better a bit in that as well. You can't be letting the ball bounce in your own penalty area.
No,
not that often anyway.
And then the counterpoint to that was, so we went in at half time 1-0 down, but mistakes at the back, as we've come to expect. And I think you take them, and I think...
Well, definitely, as they come from inexperienced players, yeah.
Yeah. So a back line that's three really young players plus Sweeney, you think, well, that's going to happen. And then straight away, second half, I'm not exactly sure, but it was very, very quick.
No, it's from the kickoff.
Straight from the kickoff.
Yeah. We played that diagonal ball, which every League Two team does. Maybe they do it in League One as well, I'm not sure. And it just... comes to Matt Jay, doesn't it? And he nods it through for Taylor, who puts it away, pokes it past the keeper. And literally from the centre. So it's like, oh, great, we're back in. Right at the beginning of the second half, level.
And you're
levels down
assuming
again.
Taylor's given him a bit of an earful half-time. But then it kind of reverts back to...
Straight away, yeah. I'm not sure it was like... there was a slight... I'm not sure it's a really lack of enthusiasm on our part. It was just not being... people having sort of slightly off days with like missing passes and maybe Joel Randall not having his best game. Randall ineffective. But it was more the way that Harrogate was set up to play against us, and they were doing that well, and they organised the defence well. It's like, I think it's not a question of just shouting it. We don't know this is what happened, but it's not a question of just like, come on, like giving them a rollicking. It's like you got to change something. And I still thought after that Jay wasn't dropping, or Bowman, whoever, but that one of those two, had to drop deeper to give us an option in midfield. So when we can get the ball down, that there's someone to give it to.
Well, this is what we lack, isn't it? For as good as our wide players are, and they are really good on their day. I mean, I thought Williams was basically non-existent yesterday. But when they're good, they're really good. But in the middle, you've got actually very defensive-minded midfielders, unless Law's around. And then you've got,
or unless Jay does come back to join them. Yeah.
And then, you've got Bowman, who's never carving anything out of nothing. So I was really surprised that, given how little we were pressured, the centre-backs weren't... I just thought there was real scope for we all push on here. And I was really surprised that Jake Taylor was taken off, because I think he just kind of understands that sometimes you just got to throw yourself around and maybe something will happen.
Yeah, I agree. It was the substitutions generally I thought were a bit strange. They didn't happen until 70 minutes. It didn't change until about the 70th minute. Did bring Law on, but brought him on for Joel Randall. And out on the left wing, I think he touched the ball twice in that last 20 minutes. If not, not much more than that. It had zero impact basically on the game.
Yeah,
I'd never like Law out on that left-hand side like that. I never think that's his best position. Do you know what I mean? Unless everyone around him's firing and I kind of, he can link up okay, but that was a game for him to come and take control of the midfield. That's what you needed there. And and Taylor coming off as well. I thought, like you said at the time, I think he was the only one really who looked like they were really kind of trying to take it by the scruff of the neck, or do something to affect the game.
So yeah, absolutely. So it was very disappointing. I mean, it was more disappointing given how good Saturday had been.
And we wanted to come in on this today and just try and focus more on how good that was rather than this, because it's not the end of the world, is it? Yeah. And we can see what happened there. Yeah. But
I mean, I brush it off. We'll some of us will never forget that 5-0. It was so good,
Yeah, I think it will go down in history, won't it? Because it was because of the the significance of the people, the crowd being back for that one.
Yeah. Whereas a 2-1 defeat to Harrogate, it's forgotten as soon as it's happened. So that is that. More about what's coming next in a minute. So this Saturday, Exeter City should have been travelling to the lame X Stadium, the Lamex, home of Stevenage Town. No, Stevenage FC. They got rid of it. They were Stevenage Borough. Anyway,
Stevenage Borough.
Whatever, them. But it's been called off due to, and I'm doing air quotes here, coronavirus infections and positive tests. And the reason I'm doing air quotes, Dan, is because there's some suggestion that maybe they're up to their old tricks.
Right.
They got a bit of a history for this, haven't they?
I've just been looking it up. Yeah, they have. They were charged. The charges actually were dropped, but it was last season.
Convenient.
They postponed a game because they had some players away on international duty, but there was some suggestion that they weren't exactly being honest about that.
I mean, what kind of international players are playing for Stevenage? Is it like one from Jersey, one from Guernsey, and one from the Isles of Scilly? I mean, come on.
I think Isles of Scilly doesn't count as a separate nation, but yeah, probably, yeah.
That's probably what they're having to do.
Yeah.
Got a game against Cornwall on Saturday, boy. Yeah. Anyway, Stevenage have managed to get quite a lot of their games knocked out. Very convenient. I mean, are Stevenage the worst football team in the Football League?
Oh, they've got to be up there. They were nearly out of the Football League as well. So close to being rid of them.
If it wasn't for Macclesfield and their financial irregularities, which saw them docked points, Stevenage would have been down in the conference
It's only,
already.
it's only a matter of time, boys.
But it really is. They currently sit in 23rd, and there's kind of no point talking about this because we're not playing them, and it'll be rescheduled for the spring, I guess. But it's off.
Yeah.
So that means we've got one less game this festive period. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe it's not such a bad thing to have to travel up to Stevenage.
Well, next we've got Forest Green and Newport next, haven't we?
Yeah.
So maybe it's good to have a rest. I think Matt Taylor said in his interview last night they were going to try and arrange some sort of friendly.
Right.
I mean, we could probably put a team together if he's that desperate, couldn't we?
Yeah. Let's put a team
get
together.
in touch.
Yeah. Get in touch, Matt. So that's that. So that's off the table for now, which means that the next game is Boxing Day, like you say, Forest Green at home. Promotion rivals, Forest Green Rovers.
So they say.
Well, they're directly above us. We're in 5th, they're in 4th. They're 3 points ahead of us. We've got a better goal difference.
Yep.
So a win would put us up to 4th. But probably some things will change in the meantime when everyone else plays on Saturday.
Yeah, of course, there's that in there.
Yeah.
So what's going on with them? Have they got this stadium made out of lollipop sticks yet?
No, they're still in their old thatched stadium. The question of what's going on with them is, Well,
they're 4th. I tell you what, though, they've got a couple of familiar faces, haven't they?
They have, yeah. Again, who have they got this time?
Jordan Moore-Taylor.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Jaden Richardson.
Jaden as well.
Yep.
And
Ruben, I think.
no, he's at Cheltenham.
Sorry,
Kane Wilson, isn't it?
No, yeah, and Kane Wilson, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So that's 2 of our really good defenders from the last few years.
Sort of recent, all fan favourites. Actually, were they? No, they weren't.
Kane Wilson and Jordan
Kane
Moore-Taylor
Wilson.
were.
Yeah, not so much Jaden Richardson. He sort of grew into his role at Exeter City.
Yeah.
I always quite liked him.
Didn't see him that much, did we?
He scored that one good goal, didn't he, where he dinked it over the keeper down by the away end.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Can't remember who it was against.
No. So it's them, and of course it's Mark Cooper still managing them. I mean, they've really got a kind of love-hate relationship with him, their supporters, all 8 of them.
Yeah. And they've done this thing where they put it out to the supporters like, what do you want our new stadium that's made out of balsa wood to be called?
And moss. Don't forget the moss.
Oh yeah, held together with moss, structurally consisting of balsa wood and lollipop sticks.
Yeah.
And they asked, and I think I'm not sure what ended up happening, but it ended up getting. It's now sort of sponsored by Innocent Smoothies,
Right.
so everyone's like, "Oh yeah, great."
So it's called the Innocent Stadium.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh,
Or it's called
wow.
that for a bit, and then it's going to be called what the supporters want to call it. But then people were sort of pointing out, well, Innocent is, as a company, is owned by Coca-Cola, so it's hardly.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it's hardly like Greenpeace, is it?
No.
What's he called? Dale Vince.
Dale
Your
Vince.
old mate.
Don't forget who their other owner is now. Hector Bellerin.
Oh, of course, he's involved, isn't he?
He's bought in.
That's
Yeah.
strange.
I mean, he's a kind of...
He should probably concentrate more on playing football.
He really should. He's a well-known kind of environmentalist, isn't he? And
fair
vegan
enough. I'm
and
not going to knock anyone for these sort of things, really. They're all important, but...
It's funny, isn't it?
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean...
It makes me feel better when we lose to them.
when they do rename the stadium, I mean, the jokes will be enormous, and I'm sure some clubs will try and infiltrate the vote or whatever. The current one's called the New Lawn, of course, which is where it's like my dad, like, you're playing football in the garden. He's like, don't play on that bit. That's the New Lawn.
Yeah.
So maybe they was getting told off. They're kind
new
of regular
Lawn.
festive foes, aren't they?
Yeah, they seem
like
to
the Grinch.
be. Is that?
And they're green. I guess it's just because of the location and the
Oh, yeah.
who's close and all that.
But it's supposedly done by a computer, isn't it? Randomly.
I don't know if that's quite true. But yeah, so that's City's game Boxing Day. I mean, it would be a real disappointment to lose that. I think after the Cheltenham loss.
Yeah, it will be.
That'll already make everyone think it's playoffs again, won't it? Like, whether it is or not, because of course, actually, we're not as far into the season as it feels.
Well, no, and plenty more can still happen. It's not going to feel good. It never feels good to lose, does it? But to lose on Boxing Day at home to a promotion rival, and considering the bleakness of Christmas this year, it's hardly as hardly going to, as imagined by Dickens, is it? You know what I mean? Sort of snowball fights in the street.
I think if
None
we
of that
know
going on.
you've got the 4 games with fans back, I'm assuming Newport don't have fans back actually. But if we'd said, oh, you got Tranmere, Harrogate, Forest Green, and Newport, what points do you want? You'd hope for 8 points, wouldn't you? 2 wins, 2 draws, acknowledging that one might go wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
I think if we got 3 points out of those 4 games, we might start feeling like this isn't, this is a bit of a slump.
Well, three losses in a row is never going to be good, is it? But
I know I'm getting ahead of myself there massively. So it would be really good to see. And Forest Green will play in a different way to Harrogate. So
yeah, I'm not optimistic about that one. I still think we'll put them away.
Okay, and then, well, that'll be it for the year. So that'll be our final game of 2020, which I think we'll all be pleased to see the back of. And then we can preview the next game next week, I think. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. It's been a weird year, Dan.
It has been, but hopefully at some point in next year things might start going back to normal.
Yeah,
There's a few other things happening, isn't there?
Yeah. Taggy's board's packed up again.
Well, it's always on the blink, that thing, isn't it? It's the rain. The rain gets into it, I think.
Didn't you make them waterproof, didn't you, Taggy?
We've applied for planning permission to redevelop the, what do they call it? The Cliff Thorburn Memorial Ground.
Yeah.
The training park.
Yeah.
So they want to build this state-of-the-art kind of building out there on the training ground, with classrooms and stuff like this. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great sign, and a great way to spend any. I don't know where the investment's coming from that, but if it's coming from, the cash flow of the Ollie Watkins sale or what. But I think it's a really encouraging sign that that's the direction we're going in, especially when other, as we mentioned before, other clubs are closing their academies and whatnot.
That's the scalable model, isn't it? Like, we often hear people say, I mean, often's pushing it because I think these people are in the minority, but we hear people say you can't always rely on selling academy products. Now, there's 2 things around that. Like, of course, you don't have to sell any academy products. Your academy products only have to be good enough to fill the Exeter City squad, and that solves the problem of ever having to buy any players.
Well, that in theory,
In theory.
But, however, with the way it works, as we know, with players being, free to sign for wherever they want, quite rightly, before they get to the, offered a full pro contract, then that's the way it is. And you can sort of understand why teams don't invest so heavily in an academy if you're just going to you spend all that money to develop these kids and then they go for nothing, and that's why I think probably you'd hope that there might be some changes around that in the future. It doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon, but but obviously I still think it's a good thing that we're carrying on our investment because it has worked for us, hasn't it, the last few years? No matter how many times people say you can't just keep relying on selling young players, it's like, well, okay, but it doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon, does it? Because there's always names coming through, and look at the ones who made it into the first team so far this season.
Absolutely. So I don't know. I haven't read enough around it, but I would assume that an improvement in facilities out there means there's a chance that the academy increases in grade. So academies are graded.
I think there's a suggestion that it might move us into category 3.
Right. Okay. So that would be obviously then I suppose you'd have a better chance both of attracting other people, academy graduates.
Exactly. Yeah.
And holding on to people a bit longer, because obviously that's the difference, isn't it? Watkins, etc. We held on to them a bit longer. They made us more money. Cresceni and Ampadu couldn't hold on to them. They're going to make money for other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, very exciting. Good use. Good to invest in something that actually lasts rather than, taking a pot on a player.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Anyway, I mean, as much as I kind of wouldn't mind seeing a little new centre back or something. But that's coming up as well, isn't it? January transfer window will.
Does that open on January 1st still, the same as normal?
Oh, I don't know. I guess so.
I'm assuming it's the same as normal because at some point we'll tick into being like where we would be in a season, aren't we? Because we're supposed to finish it basically at the same time.
Yeah, we catch up. You mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
So I guess January transfer window will be the same.
The more Stevenage want to push it back.
Yeah.
The longer it's going to go on, isn't it?
Yeah. Do we think we're going to lose anyone in January?
I mean, you never know. I don't know. Like, it's possible, isn't it? You know,
Possible. I mean, obviously, the main transfer...
we lost Jaden Stockley, didn't we? In January?
did. I mean, there's no one in Stockley's category currently.
Well, Bowman's got 2 hat-tricks, mate.
That's true. I mean, if Bowman, if we were offered $500,000 for Bowman, I think we'd take it. But I don't think that will happen.
No. Quick mention for Ryan Bowman, actually. That's, we've been critical of him. A lot of people have. He's found a bit of form, and I think it's worth, giving him some
absolutely.
credit there.
Absolutely.
Had a black eye after that 5-0.
From the goalkeeper who hated him?
Well, I don't know. I'm guessing it's a black eye. I mean, it could have just been some of that Just for Men and just sort of run down on his face and just sort of...
If you buy budget Just for Men, Ryan, it's going to run in the rain. I don't know what happened there. Yeah. But obviously the big transfer rumour back in the summer was Randall Williams. His contract ends at the end of this season.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely he'll go in January, I would think, unless someone's desperate for a player like him. But I don't think he's done that much.
You got to look. You got to be thinking now that he's going to go at the end of the season for nothing,
or stay if we get promotion, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't think his options are as wide as he hopes they are. Is that a fair comment? I
think possibly not. And there's still time for him to the rest of this season, but he will have to pick up a bit form wise. He's hardly been. He's not setting the league alight, and he sort of was a bit last season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see about that. I don't know. If people are aware of how good some of our squad are, then we should be worried. But I don't know. It's hard to get too many rumours. Get hold of any rumours for League 2 stuff, isn't it, really? I
mean, we know that everyone's skint as well. And obviously, as the tiers increase, while Exeter, for the time being, look like they can at least have some match day income.
Well, you might not be allowed to transfer because you're not allowed to move between tiers.
Ooh. Who knows?
I know William wants to go back to, Watford or something. He can't.
No chance. Well, anyway, we'll see. Obviously, we'll have more updates on that when it comes to it. Don't forget you can get in touch with us in all the normal ways via email, bigbankpod@gmail.com, on Facebook with the Big Bank Theory Podcast, and on Twitter we're at Big Bank Pod. We'd love to hear your opinions.
What are you bringing to the match? What sort of new things are you trying out, kind of refreshment wise? Are
you wearing some sort of really waterproof jacket and you can have curry sauce in one pocket and sweet and sour sauce in another pocket, and then the inside of your coat's lined with, dipping items?
Yeah. This is a recurring thing. I think you desperately want some sort of utility coat.
I do, but I also don't want to look like I'm wearing a utility coat.
If anyone knows of such thing, maybe send us a link to that too, so we can get John some sort of coat which holds lots of different things.
I mean, I'm just hungry all the time.
Yeah, okay,
what can I say? I need
sort of coat, come larder is what you're interested in.
That sounds like a place you might visit in Somerset. Where you been then, boy? Here, been up coat come larder. Anyway, I would like that very much. I mean, I'm one step away from wearing one of those hats that say beer o'clock, but putting two cups of tea in the holders.
First aid,
yeah, that's right, yeah, with the straw coming down. I'd like that a lot. I also want to say thanks to the people of Exeter and the supporters of Exeter City. I left my keys in my bike lock last night, realised after about an hour, this is outside the ground, still there when I got back.
Of course it was.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Well,
I saw there were some people, apparently, they saw it, big group of thugs, they saw it, they were like, let's have that bike. And then one of them went, hang on a minute, mate. That guy's clearly come to the match. He's going to need to get home afterwards. It's dark. He's going to need that bike. Let's leave it there.
Thanks, lads. Appreciate that. Final thing before we go. Someone got kicked out of the match last night for, I think, booing the players kneeling down for what had been explained on the PA as a stance against racism.
Yes.
Someone got turfed out for booing.
He did. My suggestion to him is that he does a bit more reading up on the subject and maybe not just on YouTube.
Yeah, don't believe the tweets, I guess, would be the solid advice.
Yeah. It's a depressing world looking into the football Twitter around these kind of things. But I don't know. It's hard. But don't look at it. Is my advice.
Don't look at it, and also don't be a racist. I'm not suggesting this guy was necessarily being a racist, but I think that if people weren't racist, the players wouldn't need to take a knee. Everything would be much better. Unfortunately, the world we live in, if you're someone of a different colour that isn't white, you're probably suffering the effect in one way or another. So we, Dan and I think, stand with the players as they do that, and we hope that we see support for it throughout the club.
I mean, come on, I think it's just almost also it's disingenuous to suggest that it's some sort of political stance. Do you mean? I mean, that might be true at some level, but are those players out there doing that for some sort of weird political agenda, which almost certainly not. And there's a lot of let's keep politics out of football. It's like politics is in football, unfortunately, unless you want some, let's say we're doing that Poppy Day thing, and they come out, that old boy comes out, we will remember them, that was speech, and then you get someone next to you booing it.
Yeah,
are you happy with that then? Are you?
Yeah,
that's fine. Didn't think so. Okay, so whatever. But I don't want to go on about this too much because it's one guy and he got kicked out. So
yeah, I mean, I really hope that he's able to have conversations with people and he's able to see the other sides of it, the other points of view. But yeah, apart from that, it was really great to be back at the club. Thanks to everyone who's made that happen. Obviously, there's loads of volunteers working behind the scenes. I'm sure the ticketing stuff is a big headache, so we appreciate it. And I thought everyone was brilliant. Like, I thought all the supporters did everything that was asked of them. It works
as well, doesn't it? The system works. You go in, you chuck your stub in the bucket.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get more people in there because it did sell out. These 2 league games, did sell out quite quickly, didn't they? And there's probably some people who really want to go but can't, and probably listening to this. And, hopefully that we'll get a few more in there.
There's a few more for Boxing Day, I believe. They're opening the away end. So that's 200 more. I think there's scope. It didn't feel busy.
I've been in the away end, by the way. And if you're worried about it, what would be like? It'd be weird being in the away end. We'll get stuff thrown at us. They'll think we're away fans. It's fine. You won't.
Oh, that's good to know.
It's very surreal, though, watching the game from there.
I bet. I stood there. I think I've said this before. I stood there on the game we got relegated from the league. I was in there because the big bank was full. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. Happy Christmas to you all. We'll speak to you again after Boxing Day. Hope you get some time to, take it easy and all that.
Well, yeah, sure you will.
Hope you will. Unless you, work for old St. Nick. Be a busy time.
Yeah, they got the rest of the year off.
That's true. It's like teachers. Anyway.
Moaning. Always moaning.
Just like Argyle fans. And I don't wish them a Merry Christmas. I hope they get absolutely sunk. And I hope Ryan Lowe doesn't get any presents.
Well, they're sinking like a stone right now.
Sinking like the ship they so proudly wear on their chests.
What is it? The Queen Mary?
Is that what that boat's supposed to be?
I don't know.
Looks more like a pedalo. I hope your pedalo sinks, Argyle. Anyway, it's always nice to see them, going down. So Merry Christmas to Exeter City supporters and the rest of you. Whatever.
Slugs. Very slugmas.
My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.